On Monday, state representatives heard a bill proposing to treat the possible reduction in military force in Hawaii as a disaster. House Bill 323 authorizes the use of funds in the State Disaster Revolving Fund to be used for loans to individuals and businesses impacted by the downsizing of military in Hawaii. Big Island Representative Richard Onishi wanted to know if those on Hawaii Island would be eligible beneficiaries due to the projected impact at Pohakaloa training area.
And they do training at Pohakaloa on the Big Island. So businesses on the Big Island that do business with Pohakaloa or do transportation or say clean linen or stuff like that, they would be eligible for funds. And how would you measure how much eligibility they would have in terms of any kind of loan application? I mean, what would be the impact?
I think that would depend on the application. So in other words, in the application to apply for the disaster loan funds, they would detail, much like they would do in any commercial loan, the reasons for asking for X number of dollars. And then from there, excuse me, a qualified loan officer would review that application and make a recommendation, contingent upon, I guess, on the funds that are available.
Across our country, we've seen many shifts in our economy. And if we had tried to sustain Detroit or Pittsburgh with government-backed loans, that they never felt any harm when maybe the railroad system has changed or the steel-making industry has changed, I worry that we might be throwing good money after bad. You think of people, I think Radio Shack just announced that they're going into bankruptcy this weekend. I think of Blockbuster. I just wonder that if we put this money towards your community, is there still a market? Because no matter how much money you put into Blockbuster or into the railroads, the economy has changed and the market might not be there anymore. Is there still a market in Wahiawa should this unfortunate event occur?
Yeah, I think in this instance, we're looking at a downsizing of Army troops affecting both civilian and federalized jobs. It's a little different from the General Motors Detroit situation where there actually was a bailout by the American taxpayers of the automobile industry. And I think President Obama will be first to claim that it was successful. It was a risky venture at that time to inject public monies into a private corporation, but it paid off because we did save the American automobile industry. Similarly with the mill plants in Pittsburgh, subsidization of the tariffs of foreign steel coming in to America, also using taxpayers' dollars, was able to hold off for some period of time the takeover of foreign steel with those manufacturers in Pittsburgh. So I think it's a choice, a public policy choice of where we're going to use our public funds. And this instance here is our loans, for affected communities, affected businesses. These are jobs. And it's not only Wahiawa District 46. According to Professor Bannister from the Hawaii Pacific University, this will affect all the communities from Aiea, Pearl City, Waipahu, Waipekele, Kunia, all the way up and through Mililani, Wahiawa, Wailoa, North Shore. So it's not just one small community in the middle of Oahu. According to the Chamber of Commerce, it's roughly 5% of the population of Oahu. That's a large number of people who may be affected by this. So this is just a fund to provide a contingency, backstop, maybe fund of last resort, should I say, for those businesses who may not be able to tap resources from the private marketplace. It's subsidized by taxpayers. Similar to the ag loan funds, disaster loan funds that came about because of the damage ravaged by Hurricane Isaiah. We hope that as they go through their loan process and applications, they'll receive those monies to help them. The state of Hawaii has always been there as in the policy sense to provide assistance, to the affected communities and constituents when these kind of events occur. We did it to Hamakua Sugar shut down. We did that with Oahu Sugar. We did that with Del Monte, we've always injected ourselves when you had massive plant closing. And this is similar to that. And that's why I make that analogy. This is similar to a mass plant closing, similar to a mass layoff of a job center in our community.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Could I comment, Vice Chair, very briefly?
Tom, if you can make it brief, this is the
Right.
first item on the agenda.
One of the differences, if the military downsizes, they leave. If Del Monte closes, not everybody leaves. They find other jobs and other industries come into, in this case, Molokai. We were involved in that. So there is a big difference with the military downsizing because they go away. Their jobs are gone. They're still working for the Army, but they're working in Fort Bragg or someplace. So it is a different kind of a loss, if I make that from a commercial business closing loss.
And